Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to the third workshop of IEX24, Sri Lanka's premier inter-university design challenge. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all of you joining us for this session. Today's session is truly special as we delve into a fascinating topic that sits at the cutting edge of technology. HCI at the intersection of XR and AI. We are incredibly honored to have with us a distinguished speaker who is an expert in this field. I'm Lana Dabre and I'll be your moderator for today. It's my great pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, Dr. Piyum Fernando. Dr. Fernando is a PhD holder in human-computer interactions from Arizona State University and a senior design technologist specializing in smart eyewear at Amazon Lab 126. He brings a wealth of experience in human-computer interaction and cutting-edge technology, making him the perfect guide for tonight's exploration of how XR and AI are transforming HCI. We are truly privileged to have him with us today to share his insights. Throughout the session, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the Slido link provided in the chat. We'll address them during the Q&A session at the end. Now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Dr. Piyum Fernando. Sir, over to you.
Hello. Can you hear me well?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Cool. Okay, thank you very much for the great and wonderful introduction. So I think it's good evening in Sri Lanka and it's very early morning in California. So it's 6:45. I hope, so I'm actually sleepy. So I hope we can have a very interactive discussion today so you will help me to stay awake, right? So welcome again. I'll try to share my screen and how it looks. Okay. What do you see, the slide or my desktop? You see my desktop, right?
Slides, but not in the presenter view.
Okay, let's see. What about now?
Now it's all black.
All black. Okay. Sorry about that. We'll see what's the best way to do this. You can see, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thank you very much. And sorry for the delay. Okay, HCI at the intersection of XR and AI. I know it is a lot of abbreviations, but hopefully we can go through this and understand these terms. And I'll be talking about this intersection and also the trends and challenges around this intersection. So a little bit about myself. So I did my bachelor's in computer science at University of Motorola, and then worked as a software engineer at WSO2, and then moved to Singapore to explore HCI. So I worked in Singapore University of Technology and Design for a bit as an HCI research engineer, then decided, okay, this is my field, I want to explore more. And then I started my PhD at Arizona State University and moved to USA. After completing my PhD, I joined Amazon as a design technologist in 2021. So I still work there. So I'm working in the Smart Eyewear project. So the thing is, I won't be able to talk a lot about my work at Amazon for obvious reasons. So because of that, throughout the lecture, I'll be taking examples from Meta or Google and Apple. Not so much examples from Amazon, actually. Cool. So we have 3 sections today. So first we will talk about HCI. I know this is a public lecture, so I wanted to give an overview about HCI as well. Like, let's talk about HCI for a bit. And then a brief introduction to XR, extended reality. And then the trends and challenges for HCI in this intersection. Okay. Can someone ask this question? What is human-computer interaction? Sorry. Anyone? Come on, I'll be sleepy. Maybe put your, like, maybe on the chat. I actually can't see the chat, so someone can read. Anyone take a guess? What is human-computer interaction? There are no right or wrong answers.
Like day-to-day life, we are interacting with computers. So that's the human-computer interaction.
Okay, nice. Thank you very much. That's a great answer. So in day-to-day life, we are interacting with computers and we are humans and there are computers and then we interact with computers. So that's a human-computer interaction, right? So that's the gist of it. So it's basically whatever the interactions we have with computers or computational technology-based devices. So I like to talk about the historical context of this field a little bit because now it's different from where it started. So if you think about the history, or if I try to give a historical definition, so there are 3 key things in HCI. So the computer science, and then the cognitive science, and then human factors engineering. I know these are new terms probably for you guys. So let's talk about this a little bit. So human factors engineering it's a field, it's an applied field, which focuses on designing systems to match human capabilities and limitations. And we think about the safety, performance, and usability of the systems. So if you think about the capabilities and limitations, so we can touch things, we can move things, we can press buttons. So these are the capabilities. And in the meantime, we have our limitations. We can't touch something we can't see, right? So that's a limitation. So we have some limit in our field of view, or the things that the area we can see. So these are the limitations. So understanding these capabilities and also limitations, and with that understanding, designing an optimized system for people. So that is the gist of human factors engineering. So if I take a very simple example, so I think most of the UX designers or interface designers use this when you design UIs for mobile apps. You use, or touch screens actually, you use this minimum height rule as like a rule of thumb. So it comes from the size of our index finger and then the anatomy of our fingers. So this is an example of human factors engineering and how it informs HCI or UI design. Okay, that is the first part. And then the other part is the cognitive science. So it is the study of how our mind works. So how we process information, how we think, how we learn, and how we also like perceive things around the world. So that is the field called cognitive science. So historically, HCI is being like, it's a mix of computer science, human factors engineering, and cognitive science. So an example for cognitive science is, or like an application of cognitive science in HCI is like this Gestalt principles. So I'm pretty sure if you design UIs, you use these things. This how you have like consistent color code for type of buttons and how we create that similarity. So this is an example of application of cognitive science. And so one of the major historical example for HCI is the design of the mouse, or especially this Apple Macintosh mouse. So you can see here, it has to fit fit in a palm, and it should work for index finger and all these things. So there are a lot of things coming from human factors engineering here. And also another one is the Windows based GUI system, a lot of desktop metaphor and all these things. So these things are coming from neuroscience and cognitive science. So these are classic historical examples for HCI and how it worked in 80s and early 90s. But if we think about the computers today, everyone has a mobile phone, pretty much. And mobile phones are everywhere, so computers are everywhere. And there's social media, and there's a huge social impact created by computers with news, probably fake news, and social media or computers actually may impact the elections, how we think about things. So it is not just interactions or how we actually do something on a GUI, but it's much broader, the impact of computers today. And also we have different types of computers, right? So we have Echo shows, Google Nest devices in our kitchens, in our bedrooms, and also wearable computers like Apple Watch and fitness trackers and all these things. And obviously, new things are coming as well. So we have different kind of computers, and computers are everywhere. And then the impact of computers are far broad now. Because of that, HCI as a field has grown, and it has become much, much broader than how it started. So I started thinking about like, what's the modern definition? And we don't have a modern definition for HCI, and it's a mix of a lot of things. But the most simplified abstraction I can come up with is this. So yes, it's humans, and then the technology and all the interactions, and also the humanity. What is humanity? So humanity is the collective human race, or like being humans, and it has our culture and compassion, our human qualities, and responsibility towards the world and each other. So because of these things, so now the HCI is also concerned with like the ethics, arts, history, culture, diversity, inclusion, policy, politics and policy making, and also environment and sustainability. So if we think about like HCI practitioners, or especially in the academia, we can see like practitioners coming into HCI from different backgrounds, and it has become like a truly interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary field, and very broad, and it is becoming broader and broader day by day. So I just want to say, like, now HCI is not just about humans and technology, it's also about humanity, ethics, politics, social science, and everything else as well, right? So yeah, this is my modern definition of HCI, but I would like to know what others think about it as well. So is there any chats? I don't see the chat window. Please ping me if there are any questions or anything like that. And also, yeah, feel free to like kind of interrupt me and then ask questions if you have, right? Yes, so this is the modern definition. Before we go into the XR, do you have any questions about HCI? Do we have any HCI practitioners in the audience today? Or anyone who calls them, like, if you call yourself a HCI practitioner? Oh, come on, someone answer, please. Do you have UX designers? Looks like we have a lot of UX designers. Can someone tell me what's the difference between UX design and HCI? Okay, I'm going to point. Okay, Oshadi, can you tell me, in your point of view, what's the difference between HCI and UX design?
It has like an interconnection between actually HCI is like very broad when it comes to the industry, but UX is kind of a part of it, but it doesn't
Mhm.
cover a lot of aspects like the environment and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Also, I'm seeing from Kavish, Oshan, in the chat, HCI is more research oriented. Yes, that's a great point. So I think it is really hard to like separate these two out. UX is all about the user experience, but XR is like we are going to extend the experience with augmented reality. Okay, that's UX and XR. Okay. So if you think about UXD and HCI, I think it's safe to say that HCI is more like an academic discipline, whereas UXD is totally industry or product-based discipline. So there are a lot of overlaps, especially a lot of theories or fundamentals coming from HCI can be directly applied to the product-based UXD process. So in a way, UXD is a more practice-based discipline, whereas HCI is more research-oriented discipline. So these are the main differences, but there are a lot of overlaps. So I think if you're a UX designer, if you're designing user interfaces, you're actually doing HCI as well. So yeah, cool. Let's go to the XR part. Okay, brief introduction to extended reality or XR. So extended reality is an umbrella term that we use to describe augmented reality, mixed reality, and virtual reality, and everything in between. And if new thing comes tomorrow, so probably that one as well. So it's basically, we have the reality that we see through our eyes and perceive through our senses, and then we create digital content, or we add digital content or virtual content, and then we kind of extend, augment, mix, blend our reality, and then we have this kind of composition of actual reality or the real world environment and digital content. So that is the very broad definition of extended reality. But it's easy to think about extended reality if we go into augmented reality and mixed and virtual reality separately. So let's do that. So augmented reality is superimposing virtual content on real world environment. So if you think about if you look at this example in this image, so what you see is you see the real world, but there are digital content or virtual content superimposed on top of this content. So in this case, in augmented reality, the actual reality or the real world environment is the most prominent one. And you have some digital content on top of that. But if you think about virtual reality, so it is fully immersive. There's no real world environment. So you blocks the real world environment completely. So then you have a fully immersive, fully virtual environment. So most of the VR games can be counted as virtual reality. And then we have mixed reality. So this is the tricky part. And people mix these definitions a lot, but I try to stick to this particular definition, where you create a virtual environment, by mixing real world environment and also the virtual content. And this mixing or this blending happens digitally. So if you think about augmented reality, the real world is actually real. You see it through your eyes, directly through the light rays coming from the real world. But in mixed reality, the real world is captured digitally and blended with the virtual content. So it is easy to understand the distinctions between these two by understanding these two concepts called optical see-through and video see-through or video pass-through, right? So in a real world, in optical see-through or in augmented reality, so the light rays coming from the real world goes directly to your eyes. And then the virtual content is projected to that, and then you see both. But it doesn't block your view of the real world. But in video see-through, you don't see the real world directly, but you have cameras placed outside, and then you see the view of the cameras mixed with the virtual content. Is this clear? So I really want everyone to understand these two concepts. Is this clear? Any questions for this? Cool. I have something to show you. So I think it will be easier if I stop the screen sharing for a bit. So okay. These glasses, so these are TCL Rainio X2s. So what we have here is typical looking everyday eyewear glasses. But so when I wear this, I can see the world similar to my regular eyeglasses. Everything is see-through. So I see the world through optical see-through. But it has these projectors here and here. And then it projects content. And then we have that combiner thing. Like, I don't know if you see some rainbow kind of thing. So it combines the projection. And so it creates this augmented reality experience. So this is an example of true augmented reality glasses where you see the real world optically. And right, so this is augmented reality and optical see-through. And if I'm going to take this Meta Quest. So this is a VR headset, and it is completely blocked. So when you wear it, you don't see the real world. So it blocks out the real world. So it's a VR, but it has some cameras here. I think it has 4 cameras, and it captures the real world, and also it creates a video pass-through. So it can do some sort of mixed reality as well. So that the main distinctions are, you see the real world with this optically, light rays coming directly to you. And in VR, the real world is blocked. You are fully immersed in the virtual content. And in mixed reality, the real world is captured through cameras and then blended with the virtual content, digital. So yeah, that's the main difference. I will go back to sharing my screen again. Do you see my slides again properly?
Yes, sir.
Thanks. Okay. So unfortunately, I don't have the Apple Vision Pro with me right now, but I can show you some images. So I mean, in the Meta Quest, we have like 4 cameras, very basic video pass through, but Apple took it to the next level, and then they put like a bunch of cameras and like IR sensors to create like a better representation of the real world in digitally. So it's a true mixed reality headset. So, and you can see like the extent they went to recreate that real world, right? Okay, so we talked about what is HCI and also what is XR and also different types of realities. Do we have any questions? Okay, nothing in the chat. Okay, let's go to the third section. So trends and challenges for HCI. So in this section, we are going to talk about the intersection of XR and AI. And I have prepared to talk about two trends, emerging trends, and also two challenges we have. So one of the main trends I'm seeing in this intersection is natural use interfaces. So if you think about the early days of VR, we had this, right? So all the controls that we were, so we were using these as the pointing devices, and also it has some buttons and all these things. But if you think about the most recent, like Apple Vision Pro kind of devices, we are moving away from these kind of add-ons, and instead of these add-ons, we are using eye tracking and hand gestures to do this, to achieve the same thing. So we call these kind of things natural interfaces, because you don't have to carry some artificially designed input system or mechanism. So in Apple Vision Pro, they have like a very sophisticated eye tracking system. So it is pretty marvelous and amazing. But it is not limited to this head tracking system, like the bigger headsets. More AR glasses are like now the eye tracking systems are getting more miniaturized. So we can see AR type like regular, so these kind of glasses are going to get these capabilities as well. So it is a main trend or key trend that I'm seeing when it comes to in HCI and then in this intersection. And so the thing is, like, all these, the eye tracking and the algorithms are powered by machine learning and AI. So that is why it comes in the intersection of XR and AI and also HCI. So, and the other one is the mid-air gestures. So as I mentioned, instead of these things, now we are using our hands and fingers. I don't know, like, I'm not sure if you get the chance to, did anyone try Apple Vision Pro? Did anyone get a chance? Cool. Okay. Shiraz, tell me, how do you think about the eye tracking?
Yeah, it's quite smooth. Like you just have to look at a particular place and then it pops out, and then you'll have to do a small pinch so that happens.
Yeah, it is actually magical. Nuran, yeah, this is a great question. So the question is, Microsoft HoloLens does mixed reality, but it doesn't feel like a virtual environment. It is virtual content superimposed on the real world, right? Right, yes. Does it fit your definition of mixed reality? No. So this is the confusion. Like, I don't know why like Microsoft call it a mixed reality headset. To me, it's an AR headset. Because the way I mean, to my knowledge, if it is mixed reality, the real world has to be interactive as well. So you should be able to digitally manipulate the real world. To my understanding, HoloLens doesn't do that. It's to me, it's more like a AR, like a better or sophisticated AR glass. So you are right, and thanks for asking this question. And this is a really great point. So to me, I don't think it's I mean, at least in my definition, I like to be challenged. If you have if anyone has like any other opinion, please express. In my opinion, HoloLens is not a mixed reality glass. It's an AR glass. Apple Vision Pro is a mixed reality glass. Meta Quest 2 has like a little bit of pass-through, so it's like, you know, in the edge. But I think the Meta Quest 3 has like better video pass-through, so it's actually mixed reality. Yeah, Nuran, do you have any what's your personal opinion on this? Do you have any comments?
I actually work in mixed reality, so I
Yeah.
also find it very difficult to explain to my friends and other people what it really is. So up until now, I would just say like so my definitions of AR and VR are the same as yours, but for mixed reality, I would just say like you could interact with the virtual objects. So, from what I knew in augmented reality, so it's virtual content superimposed. So I'm not sure whether you can interact with them. I'm actually new to this stuff as well. So now I think I'll have to also look for a new definition for mixed reality.
Yeah, so that's why I think so. I was when I was preparing for this lecture, I was going through I was reading this Reddit thread, like people are fighting. So it's so some people defend this Microsoft stance. It's a mixed reality headset, and some people goes by the definition similar to what I gave. So yes, it is confusing, and I try to simplify this definition in this way. But it's an open question, and yeah, and thanks for bringing this point. Cool.
Sir, can you
yeah.
interact with the virtual objects in augmented reality?
Can you interact with the virtual objects in augmented reality? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yes, you can interact with the virtual objects. So for an example here, I mean, I wish this is an in-person demo, but unfortunately, I can't show a lot of these things. So yes, so this has like input mechanism, the capacitive touch and buttons and stuff. You can actually interact with the virtual content. So there are menus and things like that. You can press buttons or like invoke targets, things like that. So yes, I mean, in all realities, you can interact with the virtual content. I think the difference is in augmented reality, the real world is just real world. In virtual, you don't have real world, and mixed reality, in my definition, mixed reality, you can interact with the real world, the digital representation of the real world. For an example, like I wish I had the Apparition Pro with me right now, but it's with a friend right now. So in Apparition Pro, they have this button, this scroll wheel here, and then you can actually change the level of immersion. So you can have a little bit of real world and a little bit of virtual world and things like that. And so things like that are part of mixed reality. Yeah, to answer your first question, yes, in augmented reality, you can interact with the virtual content.
I got it. Thank you.
Any other questions? This is good. I really like you guys asking questions. So is someone tracking this Slido link? Do we have any questions there as well? Okay. So let's go through the presentation and feel free to ask questions. I actually have a view of the chat right now, so I can see your questions. Let's watch this video. I don't think we have watched everything, but what I want to show you is this part here.
And press the digital grill. This one? Exactly. You navigate using your eyes, hands, and voice. You simply look at something and tap your fingers together to select.
Yeah, I'm seeing the photo right now. It's like right there. It's just this huge thing right here in front of us.
Let's start by selecting.
Yeah, this is the part I mentioned as natural interfaces. So you use your eyes, eye gaze, and also finger movement or mid-eye gestures. So instead of using these. So that's one of the biggest trends in HCI at the intersection of XR and AI. As I mentioned, like all these gestures are detected by machine learning algorithms. So that's a lot of AI happening there. And none of these were possible before before machine learning. And also another thing is like these AI inferencing. Do you know the term inferencing? So, okay. In AI, there are mainly two parts. So if I oversimplify the AI process, so there's the training, and then you train a model or an algorithm, and then the inferencing part. So that is like processing something and then tell which is which. So most of this inferencing part or the processing actually happens on devices now. So if you think about Apple Watch, it has a separate neural engine to do AI inferencing on the device. And in Apple Vision Pro, they came up with a new R1 chip or something like that that has those capabilities. So because the machine learning algorithms are getting better, researchers came up with new ways of training and like better ways of training and training with a lot of new and a lot of data. So these prediction algorithms or inferencing algorithms are getting better and better. And also we have the ability to run these inferencing algorithms on devices itself. So you don't have to send these images or videos to the cloud and get them processed. So you can process these things on the device itself. So that is why we can actually achieve these kind of like very low latency and accurate gesture identifications. So that's because of AI. Cool. Okay. We have a question. This part from what you're talking on right now, how do you go into a career path like HCI? Okay, this is a great question. I think we can come to this at the end. Thanks for the question. I will come back to that at the end. Okay.
Hey, sir, there are a few questions in Slido. Is it okay if I read it out loud? Or...
Yes, let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, when it comes to mixed reality type like MetaQuest, there will be latency with the visual, right? Isn't that gonna be the reason why people not gonna use MR?
Yes, the video pass-through latency. It can be a problem, but the thing is, the new headsets, they are equipped with like a lot of really good processors now. And I think that latency issues are going to go away. Especially like, you get like this dizziness kind of feel if you use like all the headsets. But I tried, like I used Apple Vision Pro for a bit, like for extended periods, and I know people who use that. It is actually, I mean, I didn't have any dizziness, and a lot of people don't complain. So yes, it was a problem. The latency was a problem, but now we have like sophisticated processors on device processing and all these things. So this video processing is actually much improved now. So the latency and the frame rate and things like that, those challenges are like kind of going away. But it's a good question. Yes.
The second question, what does it take to become a design technologist? What are the prerequisites for that role?
Can we talk about that, like about the career part after the presentation? We only have like few slides now.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So shall I continue the next question or?
Yes, please. Yeah.
HCI developer versus UI UX developer question mark.
I don't know who are HCI developers. I think let's talk about that at the end as well. So I think these are about job roles and career paths and things like that, right? So yeah, let's get back to that. And can you please take a note of that question as well?
The last question for now. What's your view on adoption of Vision Pro and mixed reality?
Okay, I have a couple of slides on that. And I don't have a very well developed view. Let's talk about that. So that's the last part of the presentation. Yeah, so I will get back to that as well. Any other questions?
No, so that's it for now. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so we were talking about gestural interfaces or natural interfaces. So this is an interesting project from Meta.
With AR devices, we're asking the question, how do we build a computing platform that is truly human-centric? Facebook Reality Labs is a pillar of Facebook that's dedicated to bringing AR and VR to people, to us, to consumers of the world.
Every single new computing era requires new input devices, the set of interactions that really make this possible.
With AR glasses, I think the key here is to communicate with our computers in a way that is intuitive at an entirely new level. The wrist is a great starting point for us technologically because it opens up new and dynamic forms of control. This is where some of our core technologies like EMG come into play.
Neural interfaces, when they work right, and we still have a lot of work to go here, feel like magic.
So if you send a control to your muscle saying, I want to move my finger, it starts in your brain, it goes down your spine through motor neurons, and this is an electrical signal. So you should be able to grab that electrical signal on the muscle and say, oh, okay, the user wants to move their finger.
What is it like to feel like pushing a button without actually pushing it? That could be as simple as, hey, I just want to move this cursor up or move it left. Well, normally I would do that by actually moving. But here, you're able to move that cursor left. And it's because you and a machine agreed which neurons mean left and which neurons mean right. You're in this constant conversation with the machine.
This new form of control, it requires us to build an interface that adapts to you and your environment.
Everything starts with a click.
The intelligent click is the ability to do these highly contextual actions in a very low friction manner.
It's kind of the purest form of superpower. You're in control, but the system is exactly inferring the right thing for you to control. All you have to do to operate it is just click.
So for example, if I'm cooking and I'm kind of pulling some noodles out of a box, the interface could ask me, would you like to start boiling the water? The wrist can also be a spot where the technology is communicating back to the user.
The haptics, the sensation of touch around us. This is part of how we learn and use motor control. It's critical to AR and XR.
We wondered, as you pull back the bowstring on a bow, if we tied that not to the tension growing on people's fingers, but rather squeezing on the wrist, would it add to that experience like you're pulling back the bowstring? The answer is yes.
That future, it really is the computer that is seamlessly integrated into your day-to-day life. The next computing platform is the mixed reality platform, the one that really totally blends your virtual environment and your real environment in a seamless way.
We're in this moment where we can move from personal computing to personalized computing.
What if you and a computer agreed to design a keyboard together and you type faster on it than anybody else in the world could type on your keyboard?
I think what this is.
Okay, you get the idea. So this is Meta's attempt on like creating a gestural interface or natural user interface. So this is interesting because like the approach Apple Vision Pro or like many other hand tracking systems, so like finger tracking systems uses, it actually sends the movement. So it has cameras and it sends the movement when the movement is, or the motion of the movement is actually happening. But in Meta's case, they intercept the signal goes from the brain to the fingers, the muscles of the fingers, to make the movement. So it is actually capturing that signal, and then from that it infers what is the actual the input or the movement or the action is going to be. So it is very interesting. So it's actually intercepting the signals going from the brain to the fingertips to understand the actual action. So it's like when you tap, the system knows probably a few milliseconds before the actual tap that you are going to tap, or like you're going to do this, or you're going to move your fingers. It is actually like fascinating phenomena. I haven't tried this. I didn't get a chance to. I don't think this is a product or something, but yeah. So if you think about the HCI trend here is like these natural interfaces. So we are moving away from these kind of things. We are going to use our hands, fingers, eyes, and create more natural interface, and also voice as well. Cool. We have a question. How does the Vision Pro catches hand gestures and take them as inputs? Yes, through LiDAR, I think. So they have downward facing cameras. They have some IR based, like infrared based system, and also they have like LiDAR based system as well. I'm not sure what, the technology or the sensing mechanism they're using, but they have some downward facing cameras. And from that, Apple Vision Pro can detect the movement. So it is a very sophisticated system, and a lot of processing and a lot of machine learning based inferencing happening in the system. That's why it is heavy and expensive. Does that answer your question? We can go.
With AR.
Okay, so the second trend I want to talk to you about is the multimodal LLMs and the spatial computing. So I think everyone knows what LLMs are, and everyone is happily using ChatGPT, I think, right? So the multimodal LLMs are not like it's kind of an extension of LLMs, but in addition to text, it uses videos, images, and other formats like PowerPoint and all these things, like different modalities as inputs to the AI system. And spatial computing is using our 3D world and input from our 3D world, and also the spatiality of our 3D world to create new interfaces and new computing like experiences. And a couple of examples for spatial computing, spatial audio. Do you know spatial audio? Like you hear music, like not just from the stereo, like from right and left, but you can see, you can hear different instruments are coming from different places in your 3D environment. So that's an example of spatial computing. And it same goes to the visual output as well, not just audio. Cool. So this is a video from Google.
Okay, let's do some tests. Tell me when you see something that makes sound.
Okay, quick question. Do you hear the audio from the video?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
I see a speaker, which makes sound. What is that part of the speaker called? That is the tweeter. It produces high frequency sounds. Give me a creative alliteration about these. Creative crayons color cheerfully. They certainly craft colorful creations. What does that part of the code do? This code defines encryption and decryption functions. It seems to use AES-CBC encryption to encode and decode data based on a key and an initialization vector, IV. That's right. What neighborhood do you think I'm in? This appears to be the King's Cross area of London. It is known for its railway station and transportation connections. Do you remember where you saw my glasses? Yes, I do. Your glasses were on the desk near a red apple. What can I add here to make this system faster?
Adding a cache between the server and database could improve speed.
What does this remind you of?
Schrodinger's cat.
All right, give me a band name for this duo.
Golden Stripes.
Nice. Thanks, Gemini.
Okay, so with multimodal AIs and then more spatial inputs, we can create these kind of experiences. So this is also a trend that we see in this intersection, and we are creating new kinds of interactions. So one of the main things is like, if you think about Alexa or Google Assistant, like we were just using voice up to now, but now with multimodal LLMs, we can actually use video streams combined with voice as well. So it's like truly multimodal and also spatial, because when you wear like some AR glasses with cameras or like headsets, VR headsets or mixed reality headsets, you can actually get the real world view and then use it as the input to the multimodal LLM. So this is a huge trend happening. So, cool. So we talked about trends. Now let's talk about challenges. So one of the key challenge for HCI in especially when creating like mixed reality experience or like XR experiences is like providing physical tactile feedback, because things are virtual. When you type something on a keyboard, you don't feel that actual tactile feedback. So if you use this, if I type on actual keyboard, you feel the button goes down and then comes up, and then you feel the pressure and all these things. So we call it like physical tactile feedback. But on a virtual environment, how do we create that feedback? So it's like so there are a lot of research happening to address these challenges. So
haptic gloves offer the promise of immersive touch in virtual and augmented reality. Unfortunately, current systems are expensive and unwieldy, requiring tubes, tethers, external power, and backpack-sized infrastructure. We present a new haptic glove technology. Here, we remove the outer cloth layer to reveal the inner haptic components. The entire system can fit on the hand and wrist, including drive electronics, computation, wireless communication, and batteries. This glove includes high-resolution shape arrays for each fingertip. Uniquely, our haptic arrays are low profile and low cost, and yet highly expressive, both temporally and spatially. Each haptic pixel is fluidically driven by an ultra-small embedded electro-osmotic pump. The pumps are solid state with no valves, meaning the only thing moving is the touch surface itself. Our haptic arrays can enable a rich palette of effects. Starting most simple, users can feel contact pressure when touching a virtual object. Note that fine-grained contact impression is rendered appropriately. For example, the edges of this box. In this demo, a user can feel the individual violin strings to help correctly position their hands. Similarly, users can feel skin deformation when grasping or hitting virtual objects. We can also vary finger pressure over time to simulate, for example, the feeling of a buckling spring mechanical button, slider detents, and other user interface feedback. We also support static contact textures. For example, smooth, rough, ridged, and bumpy, providing a material dimension for virtual objects. Spatial textures are similarly possible. In this set, we have metal grate, wood grain, pimply skin.
Okay, you get the idea. So yeah, so there are a lot of research happening to address these challenges. I know these things are like still very bulky. These things happen in lab scale, like inside research labs, but not in actual consumer products. So the real challenges for HCI is like to miniaturizing these things and how then finding new ways to create these tactile experiences. Also, this is another, I think we can play the video for a bit to simulate and provide the physical tactile feedback that work. But still, these are bulky and you need very expensive data. So this is actually a consumer product, but still it's very how to be strapped to it. So the last challenge is designing for humanity. So I think you remember from the beginning. So this is how I define the modern HCI. So it's not just humans and technology, but also the humanity. So our social responsibility, ethics, politics, policymaking, and all these things. So one of the biggest challenges we have is like how we design these technologies in a way that we preserve humanity and our core values. For an example, is this the future we want to create? Do you want to go and have dinner with a friend or with your date and wear these things? What do you think? Do you want to live in this world? I mean, I have my own opinion and I'm still trying to formulate my own opinion on this, but I like to hear what do you think? Anyone? And again, there are no correct or wrong answers and no one is going to judge. And this can be a future. And there are a lot of good things about this future as well. So I would like, I mean, be honest with the answers. Anyone wants to add something? I think there's a nice question about this as well, right? Asking my opinion, but I'd like to ask, I know your opinion on this. Okay, another one.
I can I can go. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes. Please go ahead. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Did you hear what I said earlier or no?
No.
Okay. So my feeling is that people like to make eye contact.
Okay.
So I think that's an inherent challenge with any wearable that covers your eyes. Because I think in social situations, we are constantly looking at each other and gauging each other's emotions and assessing each other via the eyes. So I think one of the big challenges of getting a product like this to be successful outside of the home is going to be that social barrier.
Yep. So by the way, is this Meryl?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So this Meryl is a colleague from my team. She's a UX designer. So if you have any questions for her, just you can ask her. Just ping her on the chat. Cool. Yeah. So that's one of the biggest challenges HCI will face, and especially like if you think about this, Apple is trying to create this virtual avatar kind of thing, but is it enough? And I mean, I can assure in real world, it doesn't look like this. My virtual eyes are like pretty bad. The ones Apple created are pretty bad. It doesn't look like this. But we get the idea. So we are getting there, but is this enough? And is this how we want to look in the social situations? And is this is this the future of our humanity? We don't know. So these are the challenges the modern HCI will have to face and address. And I like to end the lecture, like the official part of the lecture, by asking these questions. Is this how we want to look? And is there a better way, like how we design these things? And what is how can we design new behaviors? And should we always wear these things? Or should we, can we design these systems to be only be episodic, or like you wear these things only when you need this, but not at coffee shops? And is this an okay future? And there are a lot of arguments. So yeah, so because I told that I will share my own opinion on this, I will do that. And this is my own opinion, not my company's opinion, right? So the way I see it is like, I mean, personally, I don't want to live in this world. I don't want humans to look like this. And I don't want to see the world through video pass-through. I want to see it. I want the actual light rays come into my eyes, and I want to see the real world as it is. But personally, do I see the value or like really useful applications of these kind of devices, XR or MR? Yes, especially in surgery, in medical situations, training, education, yes. But I think we have to design these devices in a way that we only use them for what we need them, and not as things that we like always wear. So I don't want mixed reality headset to be all day wearable devices. I hate when these things become very small and more miniaturized, and then people will start wearing these things. I think probably, in my opinion, AR, like this see-through glasses, can be the future. It presents actually lesser social acceptability or like challenges. So that's my opinion, since you asked. Anyone wants to add anything to this? Okay, so this is the end of the lecture, but I'm happy to take some questions, and there are some questions that I promise that I will take at the end as well. So before we go into that career based questions, do you guys have anything related to the lecture itself? And do we have any new questions coming in the Slido?
Thank you so much, Dr. Fernando, for that enlightening session. It's now time for the Q&A session. If anyone has questions, please feel free to drop them in the Slido link provided in the chat. So please take us through again.
Okay, so shall we go one by one then?
Yes, sir, please.
Oh, yeah. What does it take to become a design technologist? What are the prerequisites for that role? Okay. It's a really difficult question, because not a lot of companies have this particular role, design technology. So I will give you like a little quick introduction to what I'm doing, like what my job role is as a design technologist. So so basically, you can be a designer with programming or like engineering knowledge, or you can be an engineering with design knowledge. So there are two ways to approach this. You either be a designer and then become an engineer and become this hybrid. So my path to become a design technologist was like from an engineering from an engineering based start. So I did computer science and engineering for my bachelor's, as I mentioned, and then I worked as a software engineer. and then learn design in my grad studies. So it is up to you, but the particular skills we are looking into is like basically basic programming knowledge, like web, full stack development kind of programming knowledge. You don't have to have like a lot of like strong algorithm expertise, but basic programming knowledge. If you can do like end-to-end full stack prototype, then that's good. And hardware prototyping, Arduino, because I'm in the hardware side of the Amazon, so Arduino, hardware prototyping, 3D printing, things like that. So CAD modeling, so those things can help. So, and also fundamentals of HCI and UX design, little bit of human factors knowledge, and also design process knowledge, human-centered design, design thinking, how to do a brainstorming session, how to synthesize things, how to conduct a design, or how to conduct or lead a design process. So things like that. So those are the prerequisites. So yeah, it is very ambiguous and vague. And a lot of like, there's no particular like kind of a structured way. Like I'm different, so my skill set is different from other design technologists I'm working with. So yeah, basically designer engineer hybrid with skills from the both domains. Any follow-up questions on that? Okay, let's go to the next one. How does eyewear reality integrate with existing Amazon products? Okay. I'm trying to. So okay, Amazon has an eyewear product in the market. It's called Echo Frames, and it is audio only. So it's basically Alexa enabled glasses. So it has speakers, it has mics, so you can ask Alexa anything whenever you are. So that's what we have. And XR, unfortunately, I can't talk about these things because pretty much almost all these products are like in the making. So hopefully in a couple of years, we can talk about Amazon products. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, cool. As undergraduate students, what kind of side projects and final year researches we can do in HCI? Okay, in HCI, you can do a lot because HCI is a very broad field. And as I mentioned, it has technology, not just technical engineering, and also it has some science aspect to that, and then the cognitive science, psychology, philosophy, politics, social science, and all these things. So it's very broad. So what I would say is like pick the area that that you are mostly interested in. So for an example, you might be interested in like voice interfaces or smart home devices or XR or AR, or it could be natural use interfaces. So pick one area and then try to find that intersection in HCI. So what kind of side projects? I would say natural interfaces off the top of my head. Spatial computing related projects. How do you work with multimodal LLMs? And the thing is like these multimodal LLMs are like very accessible now through APIs. And you can play with those things. What else? Eyewear interfaces. And also tangible interfaces, like how you create these more tactile feedback and physical feedback, how you provide these things and those kind of things. Yeah, so those are the general areas I can think of. But if you have any particular questions or if you want to talk more, please reach out to me. I'm happy to jump on a call. Okay, I am interested in doing higher studies related to UXD after my bachelor's. Could you give me a quick advice? Yes, do it. So that's my advice. But one thing you will need to think about is like, what do we mean by UXD? So it's again, UX is a very broad umbrella term, which I don't like. So I would say, think about what do you want to do? Is it interaction design, or is it more related to social science or politics, that areas, or ethics, things like that? Or is it about human factors? So what I would say is, like, my advice would be, first one, do it. You should do it. And then try to understand the everything that comes under UXD or HCI, and then find the things that you like the most, because it's too broad. So especially if you're doing higher studies, you can't, like in your bachelor's, you can have like a very broad field, but if you go for like higher studies, I think it's better you narrow down your focus and then do some explorations, read. Again, please reach out to me. I can give you some resources, and find your focus and the things and find your cup of tea basically, and then focus on that. So that would be my advice. Cool. The next one, VR glasses that give feedback when contacted with virtual objects, but also prevent moving our hands through virtual solid objects. Do you know anything about VR glasses that give feedback when contacted with virtual objects, but also prevent moving your hands through virtual solid objects? Do you know anything about this? I haven't tried such gloves by myself, but yes, I know some research. Some research is going on this. So there are some research going on, like you can actually manipulate the muscle movement computationally. You can actually stop your hand, things like that. So yes, I can look into this, but I haven't tried VR gloves specifically, but I have tried a demo like few years ago that in that setup, so it can actually create like move my or control my muscle movement through a prototype. So yes, I think this can be done, and but I haven't tried it. HCI developer versus UI UX developer. So I'm not familiar with this the term HCI developer, but I know the term HCI research engineer. So in Singapore, I worked as a HCI research engineer. So I think HCI research engineer, or in this case, let's say HCI developer, is more focused on research projects. So I worked in that university as a HCI research engineer. So I was doing prototyping and development for research. Whereas UI UX developer or UX engineer, so I think Google call this role UX engineer. So that role is more focused on product. So again, it's the difference between HCI and UXD. So HCI is more research focused and mostly based in academia, whereas UI UX jobs are like mostly in industry and product focused. So yeah, so I think that's the difference between HCI developer or HCI engineer versus a UX engineer or UI UX developer. I hope I answered that question, but please, if you have anything, please follow up. Okay. When using eyewear such as see-through glasses, how are such teams conducting user research, and also how are they validating and iterating the work? Okay, really good question. So you can use off-the-shelf glasses like this, And so what you can do is like for IVR teams, so these devices come with SDKs, like software development kits. That means you can prototype your applications on these devices. So you can prototype your applications and then install these on these devices and also use these devices in the UX, the user research. So that's the process you can follow. I don't want to go to the, I mean, unfortunately, I can't share what we do exactly at Amazon because it will reveal our next products. But as a generally, you can use existing AR products, and it goes to the Apple Vision Pro and the VR or MR headsets as well. So they have SDKs, so you can actually prototype these things and then do the validate, and then also follow a more testing-based iterative design process. What's your view on adoption of Vision Pro and mixed reality? I think I shared that in the last slide. As I mentioned, I'm worried. I don't want Apple Vision Pro to be the norm, or like that kind of products to be the norm, and I don't want people to wear these things everywhere. Okay. Are you open to mentor HCI research thesis for bachelor's conducted through Sri Lankan University? How can I connect with you? What is HCI? It's HCI, probably. Yeah, please contact me. I will give my email address here. What tools or technologies can HCI practitioners learn to prepare for future trends? Where can you learn about HCI? Okay. Self-learning HCI. So I think I can suggest some books, and then I can actually send some links. This one is a good book. I will remove my blur. This is a good book, Interaction Design, Beyond Human Computer Interaction. It will give you like a very generic idea and a very good overview, not just broad, but also deep as well. And this is another good book, HCI Beyond the GUI. So you can learn about haptics and gestural interface and things like that. So yeah, I will follow up with resources like links. Specifically about what tools or technologies can HCI practitioners learn to prepare for future trends. I would say follow big companies like Google, Meta, Amazon, Apple. So there are a lot of resources that you can understand, like learn about HCI and especially the new trends. And also be in touch with like, I mean, read like Verge or TechCrunch or things like that as well to understand. So what is important is like the technology is evolving and there are a lot of new things coming and it's really hard to keep up. But what you have to build is, it is not about like particular tool or a technology, it is understanding the fundamentals. So try to understand the fundamentals of HCI. The fundamentals of HCI are like how the human body works, how the human brain works, how the human mind works, and also the social elements of that. So try to understand the basics, understand the fundamentals, and also after that, or like in parallel, you can actually think about tools and technologies. Like to name a few technologies wise, prototyping with LLMs, natural language processing, and things like that, and machine learning. How to train a machine learning model and do inferencing, and how to run a simple machine learning model on a microcontroller or an edge device, so things like that. yeah, so it will, so once you prototype or like build these things, then it will give you this fundamental understanding, which will eventually prepare you for what will come in future trends. Yes, and also another thing is like, so always think about future trends like before they became trends. So understand the signals. Like for an example, if you think about Apple, right, all the Apple MacBook Pros, so they had these neural processors added to their silicon in their microprocessors. They added these capabilities like AI capabilities to these their products, but no one knew what's going to happen. But now they're actually using these capabilities. So keep an eye towards this the kind of like interesting or surprising things these big companies does. So that one way, and also beyond the industry, read research papers if you're interested from academia, because there are a lot of cool and interesting things happening in academia as well. So usually academia is like 20 years. I think, I don't know, we can say that anymore, but at least a decade. Academia warrior industry follows the academia basically, and there's a little bit of like at least a decade of gap. So a lot of new things are happening in academia. So yes, follow conferences like CHI and UIST, and again I will send you more resources on that. Yes. How does 3D artists contribution to the XR projects? Currently I'm using 3D Max and Maya. Okay. I don't have a lot of expertise in this actually, but one thing I can say is you can start using Unity. So because I don't know, I mean, is there any integration between 3D Max and Maya with Unity and other platforms? So probably like try to learn a platform like Unity. It will be helpful. Cool. And also we have another question on chat. Can I know what do you think of this idea as more familiar with AR glasses? As AR glasses need to be charged, can we have flexible solar panels that can be flipped like in sunglasses? What do you think about this? Is the user? Yeah, so battery life is a real concern, and it's a real challenge for manufacturing AR glasses because these are extremely heavy. So when we add more battery, and they are becoming more heavier, and and becoming uncomfortable to wear all day. So I know there are a lot of like research happening in solar-based like rechargeable batteries. Yes, it's a good idea. And there are challenges, but at least in theory, it's something that is doable. So yeah, build a prototype, find a way to do this, and then probably patent it and sell to a big company. Okay, I think we went through all the questions. I think there was another. Did we answer all the career related questions? I know I promised I will answer them at the end.
Yes, sir. I think you went through everything.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Anything else?
So I think that's it for the questions. I can continue.
Okay. This one message. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, we can end the session probably. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you to everyone for your thoughtful questions. And of course, a big thank you to Dr. Pio Fernando for taking the time to share your expertise with us today. We have learned so much from you, and we truly appreciate your valuable insights. As a token of our appreciation, we have a small gesture of thanks for you. As we conduct today's session, I'd like to take a moment to express our deepest gratitude to all of our sponsors whose contributions have been truly invaluable to the success of IX24. A special thank you to our silver partner, Peritusa Lanka Private Limited, the Sri Lankan branch of Peritusa Software Solutions, a full-service custom software development company based in Houston, Texas. Your global expertise and local presence have played a pivotal role in supporting this event. Our bronze partner, WSO2 Private Limited, has been equally crucial. Known for their suite of application development and IAM technologies, WSO2 enables enterprises to create digital experiences quickly, easily, and securely, and their support has been a key element in our success. We're also incredibly grateful to our knowledge partners, 99X, a technology company headquartered in Norway, co-creating well-engineered and innovative digital products for the Scandinavian market with a proven portfolio of over 150 impactful global digital products and a team of 500 specialists. 99X is a powerhouse in the tech industry, and we are honored to have them as a partner. Atmos, a company on a mission to simplify decarbonization and make carbon management accessible to all businesses. Atmos is helping companies transform for the better by turning emissions into a core KPI, and their vision aligns perfectly with our goals for IX24. IFS, the world's leading provider of industrial AI and enterprise software. IFS' deep industry expertise and commitment to delivering value at every step have made them a recognized leader in the enterprise software sector, and we are privileged to have their support. Ascentic, a dynamic software development company with offices in Sweden and Sri Lanka, specializing in scalable, future-proof cloud solutions. Ascentic combines skilled Sri Lankan developers with Swedish management to deliver smart, high-performing solutions. Their passion for innovation mirrors our own, making them an ideal partner. Our gratitude to Pepsi, brought to us by Varun Beverages Lanka Private Limited. Pepsi has been our fuel, keeping everyone energized and focused throughout IX24. Your contribution is playing a crucial role in making this event a success, and we deeply appreciate your partnership. Our digital media partners, Hi and Daily Mirror. Hi, the English language Sri Lankan Society and Lifestyle magazine, and Daily Mirror, a leading English language daily newspaper. We also extend our sincere thanks to our printed media partners, Ceylon Today and The Morning. Ceylon Today, published by Ceylon Newspapers Private Limited, and The Morning, published by Liberty Publishers Private Limited, have been instrumental in keeping the public informed and engaged. Finally, our online event partners, HackSL and Hackathons.lk, have supported us every step of the way, ensuring that our event runs smoothly and reaches its full potential. Each of you have been a vital success of IX24, and we couldn't have achieved this without your support. Thank you for being such valuable partners. Lastly, a reminder that the first phase submissions are closing on the 23rd of August. Please ensure that you submit your work on time and do the needful to stay in the competition. We are looking forward to seeing your innovative solutions soon. Thank you all once again for joining us today. We hope you found this workshop as insightful and inspiring as we did. Stay tuned and keep an eye on our social media for more exciting sessions as IX24 continues. Until then, have a great evening ahead.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for all the questions and everything.
Thank you, sir.